Levy, Dominic, Levy. Let me say a special greetings and welcome to all of you locked into Q at this time. Once you hear that theme song, you know the Concerned Citizen Movement program is on. A special welcome and greetings to all of you locked in at this time. It's just about 5 minutes past the good old hour of 6 o'clock in Dominica and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Those are our friends in the north, but I'm talking about places like Jamaica, Cuba, thereabout. Good evening to you, my friend. And way down south, good evening to you as well, in the region that is. Those of you further afield, welcome on board as well. Just in case you don't know, my name is Loftus Dura, sitting in as host of tonight's program. A very interesting program awaits you guys. All I ask you is that you keep it locked to the sport, the station that you got. None other than Q95. We will also, the first hour of this tonight's program will be streamed live by Kyrie FM as well. So all the Kyrie'ites, all the Kyrie listeners, good evening to you as well. Yes, we are on board getting ready to make a start. In terms of the guests for tonight's program, that is the people who will be talking to us tonight. A very youthful program, I must tell you. We have brother Senator Delbert Paris. He's online standing by. Those of you know this brother very well. Whenever he speaks, you must listen. So brother Delbert Paris, Senator Delbert Paris, good evening to you, my brother. We're waiting to hear from you in just a bit. On the line as well for tonight's program, a very dear sister, none other than Nashelle Walsh. Yes, you heard me right, Nashelle Walsh. She'll be talking to us tonight. You remember that song that made waves and fame a while ago, Dream Killer? Yes, that lady will be talking to us in just a bit. Nashelle Walsh, good evening to you. Brother Zed Lloyd will be with us as well. He's online waiting. I'm here in the studio alone, but King Dice, the man, Brother Denison Joseph, is expected to join me here shortly. So you can well imagine the conversation to come, where we're focusing on the young people in Dominica. So guess what? Right about now, I'm just going to open up the line for about 3 minutes thereabout, just so that you guys out there can call in and connect. So now is your time. The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. That's the DG line, that is. The overseas line 305-432-9624. Based on what I'm seeing here, we are not connected to Kyrie FM just yet. So we expect them to join very, very soon. That is the Kyrie FM guys. So yes, folks, now is your time. Limited time, 3 minutes for that greeting line, because we got to go in just a bit. My dear sister Marceline Edwards, you said that you're locked. Thank you very much for your eyes and ears. Marcelin said, "God bless." All right, the telephone lines are now going, so let's go to this line so that we can take some calls and move on from there. Caller, yes, good evening to you.
Yes, good evening, Lofty. I am present, and don't be afraid. I'll be monitoring Kyle.
All right, thank you very much for your monitoring ears. Thank you indeed. Thank you. Yes, 2 more minutes to go, and then we got to get the conversation started with our young people in Dominica. So a very youthful conversation is up next. Senator Delbert Paris, Miss Nashelle Walsh, and King Dice Denison Joseph. These are our guests for tonight's program. Brother Zed Lloyd will lay down, as it were, the foundation of the conversation to come. And my very easy job is to just take your calls and manage the program thereof. Let's go to this line. Caller, yes, you're on. Good evening.
Good evening. Greetings to you, brother. Financial Center Square.
Financial Center Square. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. All right, one more minute to go. In the interest of time. All right, I'm getting a note here from my brother. He says that Kyrie FM is on. And so to all our Kyrie FM listeners at this time, a special good evening to you from Q. That's the power of technology, huh? The management and staff of Kyrie FM as well. Good evening to you guys as well. All right, 30 seconds to go. And we got to get things moving. Caller, yes, you're next.
Good evening, Mr. Jura.
Good evening to you.
Good evening, Mr. Delbert.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yes, just speak up a bit, please.
I'm listening.
All right, thank you, my friend from the Point Michelle area. Good evening. All right, Dominicans, in the interest of time, we have the first hour where Kyrie FM will be streaming the things live, doing a simulcast, as it were. So in the interest of time, we can't waste any more time. So let me now move across to Brother Zed Lloyd. Zed Lloyd, good evening to you, my brother.
Good evening, brother. Good evening. I'm caught out on the road in the traffic time business, so I'm here. Gotta make it work. Thanks, Lofty. Good evening to everybody, Brother Paris. Dicey in here yet?
Not as yet. We're expecting him. He's not here as yet.
What about the singer?
The sister told me she'll be there in 5-10 minutes.
All right, cool. Well, let me say to the people, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making the time to be here with us this afternoon. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. I think you're going to enjoy it. We thought that we needed to talk to the. Am I coming in clearly, Lofty?
You're coming in clearly, loud and clear. Go right on.
We thought it was necessary to have a youth conversation because people have been saying, well, it's just old people, grown-up people that is in this thing, and the young people are not interested, and they're just COing and all of that stuff. But I've been having communications behind the scene online with a bunch of young people, and so I know they're not just COing. In fact, what they're telling me is they're tired of the talking. They understand the place is frustrated. They go through the frustration. They don't like what is going on. But they're tired of the talk. And so while that is good, but it's also dangerous because at that level of youth is emotional momentum. And if you don't give it that philosophical context and guide them philosophically, it can end up being destructive too. So we want a constructive solution in Dominica. So if we want a constructive solution and we want to engage the youth, then we have to engage in a philosophical conversation with the youth that is on their wavelength of young people. And so that is what this afternoon is about, where we can talk their language and communicate with them and understand their problems and their solutions. You know, Lofty, is interesting. When I was thinking about this introduction, it took me all the way back with regards to the Labour Party. You know, I do not really know the United Workers' Party, you know, Lofty. I'm a Labourite, you know, I grew up in Labourite tradition and I get some Freedomite tradition. but I'm a Labourite at heart. And I remember when Roosevelt Skerrit came into power, a young man, and I heard the promises he was making about education for the young and doing young people things. And I decided, you know what? I'm not going to critique this brother I'm just going to let him do his thing because he's young and he's about young people. And for a long time, I avoided the critique. I avoided getting involved. I gave him as much window as possible. But then I started realizing a pattern, bro. There was an absence of delivery on promises. Promises were just being made without any sense of context, without any sense of process, any sense of procedure to make sure that they become material values. There was no sense of materialization to a bunch of promises. And that started worrying me, you know? And so I decided to start paying attention a little closer, a little more, and checking it out. I saw the sports starting to lag. I saw even the education that he was talking about. Yes, people were being sent on scholarships. Every year there's a problem to pay them. It's not in the budget. It's not in the thing. You know, he just runs the place like it's a plantation. There is no process. And one thing that bothered me the most was Parliament. Lofty, you cannot have a developmental nation, a nation that is developed democratically if you meet in 2 and 3 times a year just to pass a budget for you to get money to spend. You can never develop as a nation with that kind of process. Nowhere else do you see that happening except in Dominica, where our parliament meets 2, 3 times a year. It's an absolute disrespect of the citizenry. It means we cannot get involved in our process. And so for the youths, that's even worse because they cannot get involved in what is fundamentally important to them for the development. And so I started really getting more and more disillusioned with Roosevelt Skerrit. And then the handout thing came about, the dependence thing came about. Anyhow, you have a dependent system, you are spoiling the youth of tomorrow. They are not going to be as productive as they're supposed to be. There's no trade school in Dominica. You cannot be in an integrated Caribbean and not have a trade school for your kids so that they can study trade. Even if you don't have the employment for them in the country, but they can go to the next nation there, the next island there. They don't go as a beggar. They go there as a skilled and trained individual. They get real salaries, real development. They can build their home and all those things. You understand? So in terms of the youth, this government has been vacuous by and large. Vacuous by and large. And so I felt that tonight, as we talk about addressing the government on March 19th, that we needed to touch with the youths. We need to touch the youth because there can be a better way for our young people. There can be laws that ensure 70% of our people work. So our young men who have trades, they can go on that job. They can go on that job and they're short of a job. Not only a short of a job, but not no minimum wage garbage, real money.
And I
Real
guess
money.
that is the kind and type of conversation we're going to have with the youth.
You understand? So that is what this afternoon is about. We're going to deal with the thing for real.
For
God
real.
bless.
Thank you very much, my brother Zed Lloyd. Always very passionate about his country, Dominica. Let me move across now to Mr. Senator Delbert Paris. Good evening to you, my brother.
Good evening, Lofty. How are you? Good evening to the rest of the panel and to all of the listeners. Thank you for having me.
My brother Paris, good evening to you as well. And we acknowledge your presence and we indeed looking forward to your contribution this evening. Whenever you speak, Delbert, people listen.
You think so?
I listen.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you, Zed. Lovely, it's good to be here. It's good to be part of what we're calling a youth conversation. A conversation by and large that should be an everyday conversation. The development of our country is going to depend on the future generation. A lot of people, we've heard the term many times that the young people are the future. But that's slightly incorrect. They probably will be there, but the young people are the now. And if we're not empowering our young people now, if we're not giving them the access that they need, the protection, the guidance, and the freedom to express themselves and to develop and to be able to live and thrive in the country of their birth, then we have a serious developmental problem. That's what we've seen for the not too distant past. And we're hoping that moving forward now in Dominica's development and in our history, we can change that. And I think it starts with conversations like these and continuing conversations like these, where we can talk about what we need to do for our young people and not just talk about young people, but actually talk to them. Many times the discussions and the conversations that we have are about young people. It's to young people, it's at young people. but not enough conversations are being had with young people. Young people are not just, we shouldn't tokenize them. We shouldn't just use them and place them where we need them to be in order to create the buoyancy that we want for ourselves. We should be helping them to create the buoyancy and the future prospect that they need for themselves. Because if we're talking about the future, many of us won't be there, but our young people will. And that's who we need to get prepared to challenge and to take hold of the future that we won't see.
Yes, Brother Paris. So, in a nutshell, I can say that basically what you're saying there is that there's this good old saying: the youth is the future of Dominica, is the future of any country. So, in a nutshell, that is what I'm getting from you.
Yeah, more than that, they're the now.
Yeah,
We
now.
need to get them in position now. We need to empower them now.
I
We
agree.
need to ensure that we give them the tools that they need now.
I
So
agree.
that when we're gone, they won't be handicapped.
True. Very, very well. They wouldn't be handicapped. Nice way to sum it up here. Thank you, Brother Paris. Looking forward. Miss Walsh, Nashelle Walsh, good evening to you, my friend.
Hi, good evening.
You're a little low. I know you just started, so you may sort of you're a little cold, but yeah, just pump it up a
Can you
bit.
hear
Yes,
me?
I'm hearing you better now.
Okay.
How is Nashelle doing?
Nasha is doing good.
Nashelle is doing good. I know you came from a very hectic day, and so I want to thank you for taking the time off to and sacrificing that time to come on air this evening. Both you're here on Kyrie FM as well
No
and Q95 Live, so that you can talk to your peers, your compadres, as it were, the young people of Dominica, what you guys are going through.
Well, first of all, let me start on my song for this year, my Calypso, Dream Killer. Because, a lot of young people have met me, even older folks, and told me that they could resonate with the song, that they live the song, and I myself can actually resonate with the song. And in each verse, I feel I could resonate with almost every part of the verse because as a young person, I can say that even being at a very tender age, we had to grow faster than our age because we had nobody to depend on. We had nobody to show us the way. We had nobody, before it took a village to raise a child. And right now we see like, parents don't want other people to correct their children. And I feel sometimes that that's a bad thing. I will say, like I always tell my brothers and sisters, take me for example, and I know the public can also take me for example, given the fact that I once upon a time was homeless, and even a lot of things that the public may not know about me. I have gone through a lot. I have gone through more than I should have ever gone through, maybe almost everything that a child shouldn't have gone through. And sometimes we blame the youth, but we as older people need to see that sometimes the youth are crying out for help, and sometimes it may be by rebellion, and we may call a child troublesome, we may call that child like to cause problem, but sometimes it's because they're calling out for help. Sometimes something is causing, there's an underlying problem. For me, I would say right now I am stable, this, as stable as I can be. Before I wasn't in that position and I was crying out for help. No one heard. I was asking, even let's just say for jobs, I applied for so many different jobs. I, went to the ministry. I applied on the NEP numerous times, and it's like, as a youth, you feel like you're trying and you're trying and you're trying and nothing is coming through. At that point, we tend to just want to give up. I know I wanted to give up. I know I wanted to end it many times. I know I attempted it. At one time, I ended up in a hospital. Um, and sometimes that takes a toll on us. And sometimes it's not our fault because from young, we are like sponge. We absorb everything around us. And the people we expect to protect us are the people who are the perpetrators. What happens is we grow up with that, animosity in our hearts. You can't speak to anybody because you're afraid of judgment, and how people may look at you and all of that. So you tend to just hold everything inside. But like they always say, pressure builds pipe. So, when you keep everything inside, eventually one day you will blow. The day I blowed, I ended up at the psychiatric unit a couple years back. And, it's something I never want to experience again, but it's something I'm happy I went through. The isolation helped me understand the person that I was. Understand that at that point, nobody owes me anything in this life. If I don't try to go for it myself, then nobody's going to give it to me. I'm not going to get it. At that point, I had to try to do everything in my power to always stay on my feet. And even after that, I fell because I was homeless. And, with God, I can say for sure, God and great people, because there are few people who are still good in this world, I can say. You can make it, you can get back on your feet, you can find your way as a young person, because I did. So sometimes the struggles, we just have to be grateful for it, because everything is a lesson. But sometimes what I do want to tell the older folks is things are avoidable. Sometimes we don't have to go through all that lessons if you would just sit down and speak to us. If we just had somebody we could conversate with. If somebody would just say, hey, I realize that is different about you. And sometimes not take your anger as a sign of you are just a troublesome child. Take it as a sign of something is wrong. What is wrong?
Wow.
What is
Or
wrong?
you're just being rebellious as a youth.
Yes, and it makes you hate people, it makes you hate things, it makes you just not want to just be here, and it's hard. I will say it's very, very hard to get back on your feet.
Wow.
But if you have people by your side that are willing to, stick by your side and speak to you, because some of us, all it takes is a conversation,
True.
then you can get back on your feet. See, right now I'm in my job for this year will give me 2 years. I have my home, I'm stable, I have my kids, and I'm just doing what I have to. I'm just trying to stay on my feet. But understanding the fact that right now, especially in the world that we live in, nobody owes us anything.
Wow.
If we don't go for it, then we cannot get it. It will be very hard. Because if you don't have people in position that are willing, and sometimes we have people in position, because I know I have people in position, but sometimes the people in position are not willing to be by your side. They are not the people willing to help you. And that's okay. What I can tell the youth, be very humble. If you're very humble, it gets you far in life. Don't react to any and everything. Choose your battles carefully. Not everything needs a response, and always have some self intervention time with yourself. Just take some time, go by the beach, sit down, watch the waves, talk to God. On the bus, talk to God, sing a song.
Mhm.
For me, music works.
Yeah.
If I'm sad, if I feel depressed, if I feel anyhow, I would just play a song. If I have to cry, I would cry, and then I know that's it. I leave everything in the hands of God.
Yeah. Nashelle, I want to say thank you for that very, very powerful testimony indeed this afternoon. It is quite, I must say, inspiring.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I know this evening some young man, some young lady out there will be inspired by your story. And you just telling this story this afternoon may just give sort of this hope to a young person out there that they can live to see another day. Nashelle, thank you very much indeed. So far, so good. What a very powerful opening statement by you.
Thank you.
All right. Wow. Brother Senator Paris, I know you're one who always advocate for and on behalf of the young people in Dominica in particular. what are your thoughts based on what you just heard in terms of that powerful testimony from Nashelle?
Well, Lofty, first of all, I'd like to sympathize, but more so congratulate Nashelle for being a fighter,
Mm-hmm.
for deciding within herself to not give up. And Lofty, like you're mentioning earlier, some young person, if you're looking at the chat right now, you're seeing people who are saying that your story, Nashelle, is inspiring. A lot of people are reaching out and saying to hold strong, and congratulating you for doing right by yourself and your children. And I'm very proud of you. It's the first time meeting you, but your story is inspiring and it is encouraging. I want you to know that you're not alone, because there are a number of us who have gone through similar situations and who are probably still going through similar situations. But here's the thing that I want us to focus in on, Lofty. As a country, we have to do right by our young people who are struggling. Who are struggling socially, who are struggling financially, who are struggling emotionally, who are struggling economically. We have to do right by them. And what is in place? What structures have we put in place? Functional structures where people like Nashelle, in a time when she feels alone and she feels like giving up and she feels like there is little hope in the country of her birth, where does she go? What happens when young people feel like they don't want to reach out to anybody because there's a stigma attached to whatever, be it abuse, be it you feel mentally unstable, which is not foreign. A lot of us go through that. And not only young people do, seniors go through it too. Where do we go? What
Sometimes
system is there?
we run,
We run.
we
What
run.
system is there, Zed, that people can go to knowing and having the confidence that this is a safe place for young women? This is a safe place for young men. This is a safe place for me to go and express my feelings. I will be safe when I go there. I know there's somebody there that I can talk to. I know that there are professionals there that will protect me and not violate me. How are we preventing our young people from increased vulnerabilities in their time of struggle? And that's what people say often. You can't blame the government for everything, and you shouldn't. We have a responsibility to ourselves. But our young people should not be left to always have to fight on their own. We can't say we love our young people and the young people are the future and all of these niceties that we put forward when it suits us. But when they need us, like in the times when Nashelle was going through the times and Nashelle, I know you probably know a number of other young ladies and people like your friends and in your circle who might need someone to talk to.
That is true, because when I went through my situation, a lot of people were telling me they were going through similar situations, or they went through similar situations. And even people accompanied with, were going through situations. So I know it wasn't me only. I was just almost done.
Yeah. And there are a number of young people who, hearing this story, you have encouraged them, but they need more than just the story. Not every one of us is made of the same metal, and people need somewhere. People need to know that they can depend on their community. People need to know that they can depend on their churches. People need to know that they can depend on their government and their government statutory boards and the systems that are in place to ensure that they can find the protection. Lofty, one of the things that I always say when I advocate on behalf of young people, like myself and younger, is that young people want access. To put it in one word, young people want access.
Mm-hmm.
And young people want to be free enough to dream. Do you know what it feels like and Nashelle, I'm not stealing your song, right? But again, your song demonstrates something that we all go through and we can identify with. And you said a number of people came up to you and said that. It's true. You know what it feels like to have dreams and feel like you cannot accomplish them?
I know what it feels like because I wanted to be one of two things. Either a lawyer, so I leaned towards history and literature in school. I
Yeah.
even did well as well right now I even did a legal course for the legal and judicial system online.
Right.
And a professional singer. I wanted to be big in singing and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the opportunity didn't present itself. Sometimes when you come up from a family who is not so wealthy, then you don't really have the option to go to college or
Yeah.
university. So
Yeah.
you just have to work, try to do work
Again,
for, yeah.
so Zed, you get the point that I'm making. Young people want access and they want to be to feel free enough to dream. Because what we see happening, and this is not to sugarcoat it and to make all of our young people look like we're little angels that fell down from heaven in a nice bubble wrap and we do nothing wrong, and we shouldn't be held accountable for our actions, and we shouldn't have to be disciplined, and we don't have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and get our shoulder to the wheel and do the work that is required. My advocacy is this: young people are prepared to do the work, but they need support, just like all of us do. In the work that you do, Lofty, and the work that you do, Zed, you need support. Much of it you can handle on your own, but the auxiliary systems that allow you to thrive in the area that you function in, you don't do all of it yourself. So how is it that we can expect young people to do all of the things that they dream about doing on their own? When you have multiple stories, thousands of stories of young people who have left Dominica with the same set of skill sets and the same willingness to work and went to places like Antigua and St. Lucia and St. Kitts, and in quick time have been able to progress, go back to school, work and go to school at the same time, and put themselves in a position where they can be marketable, where they can achieve their dreams, and they can move closer and closer to their dreams because the system allows them to. There are supporting systems that allow them to dream and allow them to implement that work, that energy, that drive, that youthfulness that they have. And that's what we want in Dominica. We want people to feel free enough to dream and to have the access that gives them the economic stability that they're looking for. The same type of economic stability that they see their friends in the region, north and south, and even in first world countries have. I tend not to use the first world country analogies because it seems commonplace. Well, if you're in the United States is the land of the free and the home of the brave, whatever. But our Caribbean nations, our Caribbean nations, our Caribbean neighbors who have similar conditions like we do, similar terrain, similar government systems. What is it that they're doing right, or what is it that they're doing better than us, than our young people, that our young people find it more favorable to be over there than they do here? Something is wrong. It goes back to our governance structure, it goes back to our community system, and it goes back to our willingness to empower the same people that we expect to be here in the future. Your economic development, the economic development of a country and of a nation, relies on its workforce. It relies heavily on its most important resource, and that's your human capital. But who has the most energy? Who has the most drive? Who has the most innovation? Who has the most skill sets? Who has the most ideas and dreams that they can implement? That's young people. That's your 16, 18 to 40. And if those people are not being empowered now, if those people's minds are not being taken care of, if we're not putting them in position where they can take care of themselves and their health, where we can put them in position where they can access the kind of economic stability and growth that they need to put back into the country, we are going to have a significant problem. The first thing we're going to have is our brain and energy drain. It's not just the smart people going away, is the strong ones too. And they're not coming back, because why would you leave better to come back to a place where you know you're not going to have the access that you want?
And we shouldn't even start at 16. We should start at even school. high school age, let's say 11, because, I just want to tell them again, it's okay to start small, and my small would be Junior Monarch, because you get prizes when you win, you're awarded, you know. When I won, I was able to sell my computer, pay my CXC, pay my graduation, and the simple thing helps you also learn how to manage your money.
Absolutely.
Right now I know how to, and it also keeps you in something. You're always active. So, and I grew up with that even in the calypso right now, so you can start small, you
Yep,
will
indeed,
eventually
indeed,
grow.
indeed. What a powerful, powerful testimonies from you guys here. You guys keep talking about dreams and dreams this afternoon. Nashelle, I know you have a very powerful number in terms of it's entitled Dream Killer. I must play at least one chorus, one verse of the song for sure to just sort of, encapsulate everything that you guys have been saying in terms of your dreams and aspirations at this time. And let us come now to the elephant in the room, as it were. You guys have dreams, but what if there's a dream killer of those dreams, of those aspirations? What next? Nashelle will be back. Brother Paris will be back in just a bit.
Boy, I had a dream.
Folks, we're going to open up the lines in just a bit.
Boy, once I had a
Lucky,
dream.
when you come back.
Pirate FM listeners, good evening to you as well. And our usual cue listeners.
Politicians hold significant power to shape the future for you and me through the right decisions, policies, and leadership. They can either empower the young people or create barriers that will stifle our ambition and potential to be the best we can be. So, Mr. PM, what's going on? You know we try and try, we still staying down. You created an illusion, an imagination of a bright, prosperous, wealthy nation. Some call you a mama Gaia, I call you a heartbreaker and a dream killer. We had plenty hope, but now we can't cope. You're a dream killer. Got the mental health while you busy gaining wealth. You're a dream killer. Some in NEP working for small money. You're a dream killer. You present a lot of things. We believe in you. No our life passing by, nothing coming through. Made a lot of promises, fulfilling a few. There is big celebration for us to praise you.
She calls this one Dream Killer. What a powerful number indeed.
We have a dream.
Nashelle, let's just go back a little bit. What sort of encouraged you to, sing this one, bring this one on stage and basically play it out?
Well, when Marlon wrote this song, in fact, the song came about before we even reached to the semis.
Mm-hmm.
And normally for Marlon, he gets his ideas maybe while he's driving. So he may send a voice note with a little bit of it here and there. And, he came up with it. And I'm like, yes, yes, I went through that. Yes, I can. And it's like when I heard the song, it was just me. The song was written in one night. I learned the song in one day. And we recorded it by the next day. And it was just me. It's like I could just play it over and over and I would get lost in the song, and I just decided that even given the feedback from the public that, you should sing that one at the semis, you should do this one. This one is, a lot of people resonated with the song, and I just decided I would go ahead with it because I would better be able to play it out emotionally.
Yeah. So basically, you said that song basically is your life story and all the young people life stories out there.
Yes, yes. And sometimes when I sing it, I visualize, certain people that I know, who go through certain parts of this song, even mentioning in this song, one of the popular persons that normally comes on Facebook, and even she did a video for my presentation. So a lot of the young people are going through things, some may not speak on it because they're afraid of the backlash from the public, the criticism, and I will say that it is very hard to just say, what, let that just fall, because it will hurt and send you into depression, or it would make you want to answer and put yourself in problems.
All right, indeed. Folks, if you're listening to the conversation, you may be tuning in at this time. You're listening to Q95 FM. We're having a conversation, a very youthful conversation at that. We're speaking to Senator Delbert Paris and also Miss Nashelle Walsh. We're having this sort of conversation where we're especially catering for the young people of Dominica this evening. The numbers to call into the program, they are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. DG line 616-4257. Those of you overseas and want to represent here, 305-432-9624. That is your number. A special good evening as well to all our Kyrie FM listeners at this time. The telephone line is already going. Let me see if I can just facilitate this call before I get back to Brother Paris. Caller, yes, good evening to you.
Good evening, young lady. Good evening, Nashelle.
Good
You're
evening.
beautiful as your voice, and I
Thank
can
you.
just your beautiful voice, and I can see your beautiful woman. I don't really know you, but just listening to your voice, singing and talking, I know you're a beautiful lady, inside and outside.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, very interesting conversation you have this afternoon, and I hope that a lot of the youth, I'm gentlemen, I focus on the lady. I a lot of young people are listening to your voice this afternoon because in 2009, 19, sorry, when the Workers' Party said they were interested in the youth and the NEP program, they were going to put more money into that, into the NEP program. The Labour Party turned around and tell them they're not true. United Workers' Party trying to squash that, and that was the biggest lie from the pit of hell. And darling, thank you for coming out there with that song. And a lot of the young people meeting me. Because if I open my mouth, they tell me, Blue Blue, speak for us. They're working in that department. It's that department. They're selling by the road. And a lot of people tell me, oh, you're speaking a lot, But then if we don't speak, or you're not coming, as we have to tap for them to follow us. Young people, please follow us. On the 19th is to save Dominica and to save all you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very much for your point here, Blue Blue. Thank you very much indeed. Brother Paris, you heard that song. You heard the caller comments on that song. I just need you now, Brother Paris, to sort of, put in a nutshell now what you heard from Nashelle in song and where we are as a country, especially as we're about to move to parliament as a government, that is, to have this, as it were, the second and third reading of these bills before Parliament. Can you just sort of make the connection, as it were, with Nashelle's story, your story, and what is about to unfold before us on the 19th?
You're giving me plenty to unpack, Lofty. Plenty to unpack.
Well, my brother, I know you're a good unpacker, so that is why.
Yeah, no, this is not a problem. There's plenty to unpack. So just follow me for a couple minutes, right? Just follow me for a couple minutes. Beautiful song, Nashelle, and even in the song, there's so much there that you could write a thesis on, right? But Lofty, let's look at it from this angle, right? And if you followed me for a little bit, you recognize that I try to put things into perspective so that we can actually move towards a solution. The dream killer is not a person, in my view. It's an idea. It's an idea maybe implemented by a person or a group of people or many people who have bought into the idea. But what is the idea, Zed? The idea is that our young people don't deserve better. Is that, they're all right. They're good with what they have. The idea is that we shouldn't ask for more. We should be comfortable with the crumbs. And even if your idea dies, even if your dream dies, as a young person in Dominica, so what? At least you're alive. So you're working there and it's only $1,000 a month. But it have people that hungry. At least you're not hungry. So be satisfied with the crumbs that you get. It's an idea that our people on a whole are second-class citizens that do not deserve the best access, the best leadership, the best economic prowess, the best facilities, the best healthcare, the best social structures. It's an idea that we ourselves, even part of the resistance, have in sometimes and in some cases tolerated and accepted. That we can't do better than this, but it is not true. And what we have to continuously resist is the idea that we do not deserve better, because we do. We are a sovereign nation of God-fearing people who deserve better. And if we truly believe that, when it comes to making decisions in our own best interest, as opposed to protecting our friends, we will make different decisions. So yeah, Lofty is my friend. But if I am looking for a physician, no matter how much Lofty and I are friends, I do not want him to operate on me because he's not the best man for the job. And I shouldn't accept that because he's my friend, he will do the best he can. He will do the best he can, I'm sure, because he's my friend and he's a Dominican like me that deserves opportunities too, but not to operate on me because he's not the best man for the job. The idea is that I deserve a proper physician. A physician that has the qualifications, the experience, and the track record of success that will allow for me to have a good surgery, a successful surgery. That's what we need to hold on to as a people, the idea that we deserve better. When you break it down and you start to go partisanship, well, I don't want to offend my friend Zed Lloyd, and so best I stay quiet. No, it's not personal. It's patriotic. When we move away from the partisanship and the personalities of it, and we rise to the actual issue, and we realize the idea is that we should deserve better. So our healthcare has to change. The access for our young people has to change. And we need to make decisions that will allow us to achieve better, to receive better, and to position ourselves to go further than we've ever gone before. But where do we start? How do we start making decisions about that? It starts with our governance, our safety, our security, and our food. It starts with ensuring that the people we put in office appreciate the idea that we deserve better. As a matter of fact, that we deserve the best. And if we have evidence that the people who we have allowed to govern, the people who we have employed in the police force, the people who we have engaged in the health service are not making the decisions in our best interest, it doesn't have to result in us hating them. It doesn't have to result in us fighting them because we are all Dominicans just alike. But it must result in us saying, hey, no love lost, but you're not the best persons for the job. And we need to put the right people in place.
All right,
We need to
Senator,
exchange
well
that.
said. Indeed.
We
The
need to
follow-up
embrace the
question to
idea
you
that
now
we
is
deserve better.
the process now by which we put these people in position that you speak of. If that process is flawed, like we will be saying come the 19th, what is your take in terms of a solution?
Go again, Lofty.
I ask you,
Mm-hmm.
the process by which we put people in position through elections, that is,
Correct.
you said if these people are not doing the job in terms of healthcare, food security, jobs, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
if that process is flawed, like a number of persons have been saying in Dominica,
Mm-hmm.
what is the solution do you prescribe in terms of rectifying that situation as we move forward as a country? We are staring down the second and third reading of the situation that will sort of legalize,
Mm-hmm.
concretize that process.
Mm-hmm.
And a number of persons have been saying, Senator, that that process we have been going through,
Mm-hmm.
it is not the best in the interest of what you have spoken of before.
Mm-hmm.
How do you prescribe we as a people fix that?
Lofty, I will always stand for diplomacy. I'll always stand for the rule of law. I will always stand and advocate for doing and approaching change in the best, most sustainable way, and exploring all of the options to approach it in the most peaceful way that you can. I will always advocate for that, because at the end of the day, if we're trying to build a country, we shouldn't build it from ashes. That's my fundamental view. But I would also employ the people who have the opportunity to do the right thing and to listen to the voice of the people and to make the decisions on behalf of the people in the best interest of the people, to listen to the people, to listen to them, because you only have so much time to listen to them. Because once diplomacy fails, and we see this all over the world, Zed, if you follow me back a few years, what happened in the Arab Spring? You know, it was young people, right? Young people started that thing. And we saw what the fallout is. What is happening in the rest of the Middle East? Some places in Europe as well. Because when diplomacy fails, and when peaceful protest and advocacy fails, when it starts to fall on deaf ears, you leave people no choice. And the same people with all the energy and the innovation, it turns to a point where they will force you to listen rather than ask you. That's out of my control, and I don't advocate violence. I don't advocate anarchy. There are lots of people who do. I always believe I'm a God-fearing individual too, so I always believe that the heirs of the just and the unjust will always bend to reason. So I try to advocate for reason, but we know that's not how the world always works. And even in the Bible times, God has used different methods to get his people to listen. So, Lofty, my response to the question is that we have to stand. On the 19th, people are preparing to demonstrate to their government that what the government is proposing does not meet the requirements and the needs that they are asking for. The process that we are advocating for to ensure that we have free and fair elections, that we elect the right people that will act and behave and advocate in the best interest of the people of Dominica. We're saying, even with what they're proposing, it doesn't meet the mark. It falls short. It falls short of being able to achieve a clear and transparent process. My advice to the administration, my advice to people who are not clear on the issue, my advice to even people outside of Dominica, take a step back and listen. Because at some point, might not be tomorrow, may not be on the 19th, words might not be what people decide to use anymore. And at that point, I don't think that's what any one of us want.
Right, brother Paris, thank you very much, my brother, for your very, very thoughtful insight in terms of the solution that is needed as a country, the woes that you spoke of, Nashelle spoke of earlier. Thank you very much. It's 7 o'clock. We are on the money. Kyrie FM, you and your listeners, good evening to you guys in a very special way. We know that you guys have to be leaving us in just a bit, but I hope your listeners got some food for thought, much food for thought tonight in terms of the discussion that, we are having here tonight. King Dice, the brother, is in the house. Dennis St. Joseph by name is in the house, and so he'll be joining us. He'll be joining the conversation after that much needed break. So to Kyrie FM listeners, thank you very much for your ears this evening. So far, so good in terms of information.
Politicians for significant power.
It's now 7 o'clock in Dominica and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean.
The right decisions, policies.
We're having a conversation with Senator Delbert Paris, if you're tuning in at this time.
They can either empower.
The young lady singing there, Miss Nashelle Walsh, a lovely voice indeed.
That was type of
she is online as well.
Potential to be the best we can be.
And yes, the 10-time king, he is in the house with us. King Dice.
Down, you created
the indomitable King Dice.
Imagination of a bright, prosperous, wealthy nation. Some call you a mama guy, I call you a...
So folks, the numbers to call 449-3095, 3096-97, 616-4257, overseas line 305-432-9624. Let's hear from you as we're moving on here. Caller, yes, good evening to you. You are on cue. Sorry about that.
From in NEP, working for small money. You're a dream killer. You present a lot of things. We believed in you. No, like
the man Marlon King Girodelli calls himself. Thank you very much, my brother.
Fulfilling of you, there is big celebration for us to praise you.
Folks, yes, your calls, they're welcome at this time. Those of you on the Facebook live feed, that aspect is bubbling as well. Thank you for the conversations you guys are having there as well. Let's take the telephone lines. This line is going. Caller, yes, good evening.
Lofty, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to all those on the panel as well. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Go right on.
Yeah, Lofty, you asked one of the guests a question about the process. And when she was asking to get the question, I stick up in there because you said that some people are saying, or many people are saying the process is not right. But Lofty, the CCJ said the process smells things, the president. And so what I'm seeing there now, to fix that process is for the people to do what they plan to do on Wednesday and say to the government, no, that process smells stink. We don't want that process. If you cannot get your postillo, get your behind out of the seat because it's not good. It will cause problem in Dominica.
All right, caller, thank you very much for your succinct point.
Be beginning well, you're a dream killer. Some in NEP, working for small money. You're a dream killer. You present a lot of things. We believed in you.
Someone wrote to me a while ago via WhatsApp message.
Coming through.
The judges, yes, the Calypso judges,
while you there smiling,
did not do justice with Nashelle and this one.
Hey.
Do you agree?
Oh, I feel I had a dream. I have a dream. With hard work and determination, we can reach our destination through access to capital.
All right, folks, I promise you this one in the entirety before we end. But in the interest of time, let's go back to our guest here.
As a young man.
Brother King Dice, you are here. Special good evening to you, my brother.
Yeah, good evening, lofty man. Big up yourself.
Every time.
Yeah, big up to everybody. I was supposed to be there a little earlier, but circumstances beyond my control. And although the Zed man says 6 to 8, I say what? No, that man.
You call him the Zed man.
At least I can drop in, even though it's in a little piece in the end. I can still drop in because it's something I was willing to do. It's not to say something I did not want to do. I wanted to be there. So
yeah, man.
I'm there.
That's we're having a sort of youthful conversation tonight. We know you're a man. You talk fun on behalf of the young people as well.
From inception.
Your take based on the conversation you have been listening in coming here.
Well, not the full listening, so I might not know everything, but I was just listening to my boy Paris man. I'm drop his thing, explain himself. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So you're taking Dice. Where do you see the young people of Dominica and what can be done to improve where they are?
What do you see? Well, for me, I don't think it's a sad situation that the young people don't really have no light. That's the way I can put it. Not to offend, because we're not on the radio station to try to diss nobody, because I love all my Dominican people and we have to put ourselves first. And part of that is these things there. We learn from our African cultures and our parents that was before us. The elder have to teach I always used to put it like that. If the mother bear and father bear do teach the baby bear how to hunt, enough of them bears gonna die.
True.
Because they might end up in precipice where they're not supposed to pass and what they're not supposed to eat and all that stuff there. So the those that before you are supposed to teach. And part of the teaching, the reason for the teaching is because of love. You cannot don't love somebody and teach them. You have to love them to teach them.
Yeah.
And where the youth and our youth is concerned, you would swear the elders did not love the youth. And for those that don't know, it had a way slave masters used to control slaves. They used to call him Willie Lynch, and he used to teach these guys, them slave masters, how to control their slaves. And segregation was the main part. You put the darker color against the lighter color, the male against the female, the young against the old.
Yeah.
That type of thing, where you alone getting the information, but you have them fighting against each other.
True. Dicey, Nashelle, who is on the line if I still, gave us a good, very inspiring personal testimony, as it were, about her life so far. Dice, I know you're a man basically from the ghetto. You grew up without much. You had the opportunity in terms of your talent, your God-given talent, to capture that coveted crown 10 times in Dominica. Can you just walk us back through, that journey of yours, where you were and to where you are today?
Well,
just to sort of encourage.
Where encouragement is concerned is, you have to, because I go through enough little trials and tribulations, in the Calypso vibes when I just started, how much police arrests and they're talking about dicey, this and that. But I think one of the situations I can remember is, I was in the police vehicle going up in the cell, and then, I was just thinking which path, you want
Yeah.
as a youth. It's either you take the path where you have revenge and, you go there because it have little girls that watching you too when you're acting rowdy, so that can motivate rowdiness. But at the same time, it used to also have the little children saying, "Dice, King Dice, King Dice." That self is a next encouragement. So fortunately, I would say I had two, in my hands, which one to choose, and then I would just decide, it's best to, some people watching you, like try to do something positive for them instead of just satisfying your ego.
True.
That type of vibes. Yeah, and that's one of the switches I would never forget. That when I switch there, then everything, as a bold person, a bold individual, everything else fall in place. When you see different conflicts come and different things, you choose in because it's always choices. And when it comes to peer pressure, I'm a headstrong kind of an individual, so I don't need no friends around me to support what I choose for me to like it. So I choose it because I know where I want to go, in that life there. But it have all the different ups and downs and the obstacles that will come. But it's the individual, it's how you know yourself, have your own head on your shoulder type of thing,
Yeah. Some people say that is, you are always sort of anti the system. You're always singing songs that, not the songs that quote unquote the elites of the country will, rub up to and hug up to.
Well, I can I can remember the first person to call a calypsonian on the radio was I'm scared call me on the radio, and King Dice. I was feeling very proud of that, when Scary called me on the radio and big me up for winning the Calypso Crown, And I was feeling very good about it. I think it's on a DBS radio competition, radio vibes, And then as a youth man, I start to tell even Pat Aaron to be easy on, on him, because, that was, I find that's the vibes, I like, the way he call me and tell me, show me that vibes. And then I can never forget at the time, Workers' Party had a rally in Londonderry. And then I was driving on the road and them police tell me, because they had blockage all over the place, like everybody was kind of all in a frantic. And then some police said, "Don't pass there, pass on our road and pass over there." So I start to think to myself that I was saying, I would never, because I'm a truth man, and I have nothing to hide to nobody, So I start thinking, I said, but if you want to have a nice track, so I supposed to try to mess up Hunter then just to get the track. So I kind of watch the aspect differently right now, because a youth man have to think for himself, because I check, and if you see the man getting a little momentum, why he'd have all that blockage on the road, why he trying to prevent. So I start to watch things differently. And, I just realize now, I will always love my Dominican people, but we have to learn to take advice too, It have some people that don't know how to take advice. And I believe our leaders, their pompousness and their ego cause them not to take advice. And then the youths feeling the vibes from that, because it have some people, naturally, if you try and tell them what to do, they just think they know. And just because they think they know, they will not take your advice. But what if that person in a position of power where he need to take that advice, but he's that type of individual, to not take advice, so then we in a limbo there, we in a problem there, and but the youths, after we didn't want to go there because, the youths deserve more in Dominica, because, we have a lot to offer where music is concerned, where arts is concerned. That's the same kind of a thing when people used to tell you before as a youth, if you don't learn in school, I'll buy a boots and a cutlass for you. No, that was so much of a wrong concept, because people have to realize they can be wrong. And one of our problems in our society is we don't have the ability to say my bad. I take my wrong. I was
yeah. You're
Because
humble.
we think that's a weak thing. I don't know who teaches that. Excuse. But you have to learn to say my bad. You're wrong.
When you're wrong, accept and move on.
Yeah, accept, because in that is the fine tuning of the society that we want.
True.
Because you cannot fine tune the society with, and I always say, you cannot grow a tree with poison. You can't grow a tree with poison; it will never grow. You can manipulate a tree with different chemicals. It's like poison, because you're not getting nutrients. You're causing it to stay short, or you're causing it to grow leaf alone, or you're causing it to grow. There's the fruit big, that kind of a thing. You can manipulate it with different chemicals, but poison will never grow it the way it's supposed to grow.
Dicey, powerful indeed in your own way. A lot of analogies there. Delbert, Nashelle, you guys, you're still there in terms of Dice comments. Any comments thus far?
Right.
I
Delbert,
just want to say that
Ladies first, of course.
I just want to say on the part that he spoke about when he said, oh my god, I even forget. You can go.
That'll be sometimes.
Right. While Nashelle is getting back her train of thought. Hey, again, Dicey, welcome.
Yeah, thank
Always
you.
love and respect. You know it is.
Yeah, man.
But I like the last point. You cannot grow a tree with poison.
No, man.
That sums up the whole idea. It's
Yeah.
about creating a favorable environment and a conducive environment for growth.
For growth.
And
Yeah.
you can stretch that to economic growth, to social
Yeah, man.
growth, to even physical growth, what we have available for young people to consume. The amount of alcohol and drugs that we're making readily available for consumption as opposed to investment. Look at what we're doing with marijuana. Why don't we have a thriving marijuana, cannabis, medicinal industry that our young people, as young entrepreneurs and innovative individuals, can invest in as a group, as a block? Why are we not pushing that? Why are we not pushing a greater emphasis on providing financial assistance? Zed and Lofty, Dicey, the rest of the panel, one of the things I advocate for is for us as a country to get involved in investment banking or some form of investment banking. Many have talked about it in different ways. But one of the things our young people are not short on is ideas. You have a 10-time king in the studio with you. You think he sing alone, he can sing?
Last time, I tell somebody that.
But clearly,
I was telling that to somebody too.
There is something disciplined about him that allows him to be able to do that. I really don't think the judges like him that much to let him win 10 times, maybe 3. But 10, no, there's something there. And Dice is not unique. There are many other people, other young people in Dominica that have innovative ideas, but we lack access. We don't have the financial access.
Yeah.
Not many of us coming with a land paper or even the education that Nashelle spoke about. Many of us come from humble beginnings, but we have ideas. We are innovative. I mean, go around Dominica and see the type of things that we have created as young people. What we need is a partner that will say, hey, I'm going to go in with you on this idea. You have a great idea. It is we can monetize it and we can scale it, but you're missing these steps. I'm coming in with you. We're bringing the financing. But here's what, we're not going to lock you out, right? We're going to create the environment. We're going to help you grow this thing. And in 5 years, you have the opportunity to buy out our share of it and to own it 100% outright. That is helping a tree to grow with fertilizer as opposed to poison.
Yeah. But
that's how you grow a tree with fertilizer.
Sure.
That's how you grow a tree and allow your young people to say, hey, but I can stay here because I have this idea that I would like to present. And if on merit, I can access the financing and access the partnership and the skill set to help me grow. In 5-10 years, I can help another young person to do the same thing. It might not be in the same field. It might be in something completely different. But what we have a conducive environment where we're helping our trees to grow with fertilizer and not poison.
So, yes, Paris man, what you were saying there, so it's good vibes. But the other thing that jumped in my mind there, and I want to bring that out, and I want to kind of ask the question because I want to know if I'm wrong or I'm right. Because let's just say, for an example, the printing on plastic bags. Remember, I doing bread, yeah? So I'm not trying to think, but I was just saying. Usually, we have a vibes where you print on a piece of paper and you put it on your plastic bag. Now, if somebody selling coconut cheese, and I find if you print that on that, it looking whack. But if you have a printer that can print directly on the plastic bag itself, I find it would look so innovative. You can put so many different designs on that same coconut cheese, and that can reach somewhere far. No, I would tell that to a businessman that existing with a printer place. Okay, and that's something that happened already. But then the businessman would tell me I would not invest in something like that because it where I know the country and where my business is concerned, I will never benefit from that. So it doesn't benefit me to go into that business. But I check in now on my Dennis and Joseph, that's me that I see. I check in, okay, it's true, it might not benefit you on a business, but if it might benefit others so much more, like the person that print, you never know. It's like build it and they'll come type of thing. Like you'd swear we don't have no vision and no hope and no faith in a kind of a vibes. Like, like something is needed. But if you don't bring whatever that you have to bring first for it to start to gather it up, and nobody else not bringing it. So I'm asking, like, okay, just let's just say you bring the printer that can print on plastic bags, and everybody with a coconut cheese, everybody with a different something, them little snacks they making, they can come and print their thing so professionally, and that can reach America just because of its standard
I
and
see.
how it looking.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you there, and basically, I'm just to sum it up. We have a lot of visionless people in the office.
Visionless, because a guy told me a thing in the foreign land, and he say Dominica is like it's not investor friendly. I find that was a well way of putting it, because you have to be investor friendly too. You want somebody to come to invest, you have to open doors for them. And listen to me, where the youth is concerned, it have so much red tape. Because first of all, Dominic is supposed to have, each village supposed to have a water company, a water business. Like Lubia water is in Lubia, Botica water is in Botica. This water and Dominica have like a 10 water going out on the world. Because as the water country. But if you have to go and start a water company, let's just say, the amount of red tape and twist and turn and lily and banga. Like you'd swear say, it's not my people I dealing with there. I'm dealing with a Chinese right now, and I have to go through all the necessary stuff, and and I dealing with the local, there's no special area for me. Whereas use the local, that is my country, that is us. You're supposed to have something for me and then something for the foreigner. But you take the foreigners like you're playing a jet ski game in a pool.
Jet ski game in a pool. Thank you. Thank you, Dicey. Thank you, Dicey. Caller, yes, good evening to you. You're on queue. Thanks for holding.
Yes, Lofty, and good night to your guests.
Yes, good evening.
Okay, I just want to support the point Dice have been saying, because this is something I told the Prime Minister already. We haven't got no food security. We're building the monuments, the big walls, but we haven't got no food security. As Dice saying, every village is supposed to have a factory. I told them we have $35 million for small business in the aid bank, but we don't see no factory put up yet. I remember some years back, the European Union sent out a project to develop small business people. People like me, Sever Mackenzie, we take training under that. I think it was run by Gateway, which was under Dexia. The former president was our lecturer, teacher, Mr. William. He do our business plan, he do our certificate. And I have a project aid bank. And it's a young person not there, and I could see in her eyes. She was afraid. It's either she getting orders from somebody inside of the aid bank who to give and who not to give. And it's very unreasonable, you know, and I very getting discouraged. I mean, I've been working farming. There was a time I could pay a caterpillar to come and cut a road for me. I could call an excavator to do some work for me in the Daybush area that I was developing a little site. But I cannot go and invest some my money like what I see. They do business friendly, and as young people, you go to ministry, you don't get no service from the young people, you know. For me to see a director, I have to come early before you get in the office for me to see him, you know. The secretary will never let me to see him. And we talk about we have a lot of chum right in the government office, so how are we going to move? Have a good night.
All right, caller, have a good night indeed. Thank you for your point here. Nashelle, you have been waiting there a little bit. Any further thoughts from you, my friend?
So I just want to elaborate on that I said about taking advice. You know, some of the young people, we don't like to take advice, which is true. However, I do want to also say that criticism, sometimes people may feel like their advice, it's advice they're giving when actually they're criticizing the person. And it's very hard for young people to take criticism in this day and age because we realize that everybody feels they have to answer, you know, and the child could be as small as 3 years sometimes. I know we've seen videos of children answering people, you know, and I feel like we should just go more to constructive criticism. Okay, you're criticizing me on that, but give me a solution so that I could fix that, since that is the problem. Because when you just criticize me, no, I have to go and look within myself with all the depression, with all of what you said, and with all the problem. And I don't even know the solution to the problem. I just know you saw a problem, but what made you come up with that problem? Why did you see it fit to say that? And what can I do to change that? That is the difference, and that is what they need to do. They need to lean more towards the constructive criticism. But I do also want to say that not all advice is good advice, because we do have old fools. So we have to also be wise in choosing what advice we take from people and who we take that advice from.
All right, indeed. Well said, Nashelle. Thank you very much. Let us now focus on some of our comments from our live feed here, because these people, they're part of the conversation, a very, very bubbly crowd tonight here, I must say. Gordon Henderson, the musical icon in Dominica, or from Dominica, living out there, says here, in the 21st century, the economic vitality of a micronation with a population largely residing in North America and Europe should leverage modern technology rather than solely relying on its local workforce. It's essential to recognize and organize the diaspora as a significant constituency with parliamentary representatives to address critical issues like taxation, retirement, and national sustainability. The outdated belief that individuals lose their connection to their home country by living abroad is increasingly problematic, he said. Most of these affluent and educated Dominicans reside outside of the nation, yet they lack a voice in their homeland's governance. Establishing formal representation for its population could foster stronger ties and drive meaningful contributions to the country's development. A very, very profound comment here from Brother Gordon.
Lofty, could I touch that?
Sure, go right ahead, my brother. You have been there for a little while.
Yeah, man, it's young people time, man. We're listening, man. We good with that. Is that we come here tonight? Yeah, man. Let them express themselves. You see, Lofty, Dicey touch it, Paris touch it, the sister touch it in all different forms. You know, we have become a reactive society, and Gordon's point, we exist in that bubble because of. We are a reactive society. We have a governance that operates on exploiting that reactiveness of our society. What you have when you have a reactive society is an absence of conversation. You have noise, but no conversation. You see, Brother Doc, and what Gordon talks about the constituency. I'll tell you why we didn't have the constituency conversation in Dominica. You know why we didn't have it? Because we had political parties and the government having a conversation, but the government never was having a conversation with the people of the country. The citizenry has been expelled from the conversation because this government thinks the only people it has to worry about is an opposition party. And the opposition parties are essentially in reactive mode with the government. So they respond to what Roosevelt Skerrit says. We don't sit down with the people and develop a cohesive concept of development and then address Roosevelt Skerrit. We need to engage our diasporans. We lost an opportunity when we reacted to Roosevelt Skerrit and we tried to respond as if our diasporans were not important in our political process. When we should have taken the upper hand on Roosevelt Skerrit and talk about how we can utilize our diaspora, not in his exploitative way of bringing down 200 people to vote in there and 100 to vote in St. Joe and this kind of thing. Garbage. We should have somersaulted beyond Roosevelt Skerrit and talk about how we could engage our diaspora in a constructive process that is mathematically balanced, not destructive to our local citizens. And we'd have shut Roosevelt Skerrit operating this garbage that he's presented. So I'm happy we're talking about this tonight. And that's why we have to stop this thing on March 19th. We have to stop this thing so we can go back to the drawing board and we can develop a cohesive and developmental and progressive process of governance that embraces our diasporans, cancels this fight, and brings us all together so we can benefit as country. You understand? Now, I want to talk one last thing. Nasha talked about having to go and get help. Paris talks about it. Here is where this government has failed the young people, Lofty. They have personalized governance. Governance becomes a kind of a begging for, like a man have mercy on you. We have to destroy that, when you see we finish with that government there, You have to have a health agency, a welfare agency. Nasha is supposed to be able to go to that office. We don't having to go and beg Blackmore. We don't having to go and beg Skerrit. None of that nonsense. We have to establish an agency. You can go there, you make your application, you present your proposal as a person you're employed, you get in there. And we have a court, a government, the constitution, the parliament has added something in the budget, and you give people aid in a proper and respectful manner. They don't have to come and sleep with you. They don't have to meet in your office and have them in some kind of position. That is the problem why young people are suffering in Dominica. This government has personalized governance, and we have to eradicate that when you see we finish with that government. Eradicate that. Governance has to be objective and productive and organized through structure and organization, not personal governance. That is the problem with this Dominica Labour Party. And that's why we're in this problem where we are. Because Roosevelt Skerrit has treated us like his little scoundrels that he can decide who I want to give and who I don't want to give. March 19th, young people, you want a better future? We deal with that government. We deal with that government because that government's concept of governance is anti-youth. Anti-youth.
Anti-youth. Thank you very much, Brother Lloyd, indeed, for your comments here. Paris, you want to chime in here?
Absolutely. There's always lots to unpack, and I like that point about the diasporans. I think similar to what Zed is saying, the conversation got skewed, and it goes right back to when Dice spoke about Willie Lynch, and the methods that they used to create disunity amongst our people, where they started putting one against the other. So the conversation gets skewed, and now you have Dominicans talking about other Dominicans as if we're not the same people, as if we don't have the same objective in mind, as if we're not trying to achieve the same thing. And you're right, there's lots of conversations, but the conversations are not happening. The conversations become noise because they're not happening at the level that it should. And our families and our friends in the diaspora who have connections here and who are also descendants of people here. Some of them have not been here, but they have a concern. They have roots here. They should have a part to play and be given the ability to play the part that they want to play down here. But it has to be done right. It has to be done in a proper, constructive, sustainable way, free from manipulation, free from coercion, and free from being used as someone's personal token. They still have to have the level of freedom and sustainability to contribute to the development in creating a sustainable environment for the growth of the people who live here and those who want to come here and those who will be visiting here. So I definitely believe that the diaspora has a place. And I definitely believe that there must be a structure created, some sustainable, independent structure created that allows them to participate. So it does not necessarily require Lofty and Zed to create a PayPal thing and ask them to send money to that, to do this, that, and the third. No, it's a structured way from the top down that allows our people, wherever they are in the world,
All right, indeed.
to participate in our governance and in our development.
Yes. Caller, good evening. You on queue.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night.
Rocky, can you imagine there's a big project going on in Dominica? A very big project. How many young people are employed in that project?
Which project are you referring to, sir?
Talking about the airport.
Okay.
My brother. No, you don't see no young man going by the bank or going and draw a salary in a bus. Can't you imagine that bus in a place like Dominica now, airport project? You don't see that bus? Do you talk about that?
All right. All right, caller. Thank you. I guess that is the point that you're lamenting about the project, the airport project happening, and not many young people here on that project in Dominic. Let's do this one from the king himself. He calls this one "Bring Money." We'll be right back in just a bit. Let's do this one from the very, very top, from the man King Dice. All right. All right, caller. Thank you. I guess that is all right. No, not this one. This one. That's the man himself. He did this one last year. And yes, the last caller spoke about the money. They're not circulating among the people. King Dice has said, bring back the money.
Greetings, Mr. Abdullah. Salam alaikum. I'm singing to make you again. Things are fine. He loves the country down here is empty. And you in charge of a treasury overseas. Over 6 billion and counting. And we the people down here strutting. Never in our life before.
Sacred Empress, good evening to you.
All our welfare joy and our people so far. She facing a crisis here, so I bypassing leader we suspect he not like it anymore. Bring money, Mr. Abdul. Bring money. Bring money. You don't know to worry. Bring money. Our church you oversee. Bring money. The man never speak from Steve. With only country.
Dice, you sang this song last year, Dice. Any traction was made in terms of bringing back the money, no?
Well, hey, that is the thing, when you say that, you put me to remember Lights, my song Lights.
Yeah.
It happened so long before we start getting that what do you used to call it when they used to take the light? Load shedding thing.
Yeah, load shedding. Yeah, yes. But Dominic used to call it capacity management.
Capacity management. Since we sang that song so long. No, that is the thing about our society, Because if as the manager of Domlek, you let's say you're the lover of us, our society, and our vibes, and our culture, and our spirit, then you'd say, what? Dice is singing, let there be lights. I'm like, hey, let's just check everything and make sure everything there before we start to sing the next song. And then you help the society, and then maybe you wouldn't end up in that too. You help the society in this type of forms there,
Nashelle Walsh spoke about NEP workers earlier. Dice is now echoing that in song. Didi Easter is writing here. Serious investors, she said, will not invest in Dominica.
It's not investor friendly, as the guy said, and that makes sense to me in a kind of a form that was deep, man. Because I tell you, Lofty, I was just insane. I saw Matnik for my first time just a couple months ago, you know, and I always go in Guadeloupe, you know, and but we was in Saint Lucia, you know, and we took the boat to Saint Lucia, so I got to see Martinique too. And then I always wanted to see Martinique, and then you seen we come out Saint Lucia, and they say, "Oh, Saint Lucia, Dominica was in front of Saint Lucia," you know, and not no competition thing because big up to all black people wherever the boat drop them,
Yeah.
you know, but we was on that vibrant mission, and then all of a sudden, what happened to our men, man? What happened to our thinkers? What happened to our, what kind of a lack of belief in self and your ancestors and God is this? For you to believe that is Mr. Luna can do it or Darlene can do it. What kind of a magic is that? When all of us are men of planet Earth, the same way we have the capabilities to be serious, we have the capabilities to be professional in what we do, you know, and handle business how we're supposed to handle it and put some honor in stuff and build and grow a tree and do it properly. We have that capability. One to us, man. What games? Who bring them games we play in there?
That's a powerful line from the man Dice. Let's take a call from this line. Caller, yes, you're on. Good evening to you.
Yes, good evening, Dicey, my boy. There's Rample, I love you.
Good evening,
And
Nancy.
I have to give a manager. I'm saying good night to all of you.
Yes.
But I don't know what the one from Margaret yet. You have to come to know me because we have to talk.
Delbert, you have an appointment with Nurse Dalrymple,
yes,
brother.
you have an appointment because I have to know him and he have to talk to me.
Paris
And
boy.
you know, all of I love all of Holiday tonight. It's a very good program. But I see you sing about bring back the people money. I see the biggest project in Dominica is a national airport. And they're going so good. And I see my father 9 children, a 3-story building and the land. And I look at that all and I see.
Well, I tell you, it's our fault, you know, these things.
So I don't know what's happening in the country here. I see we're not in it at all. Another thing that I noticed, I see, I'm living here for over 20 years. And nobody come to see how the house is, if I'm hungry, what happened. We need a re-registration thing. How you call it? No, help me. Because I'm voting in Margaret every time, Margaret. I have got no problem. I love Margaret, you know. But if our work has to be done in the right way, so all the time they're on the office, they're not going and stand around to see who died, who not here, who there.
Yes,
Let me tell you, everything in Dominica is upside down. Mr. Terry, take a bow and go.
All right, my friend, Nurse Dalrymple, thank you very much. Points well made indeed. Caller, yes, you're next.
Good evening, my friend. Good evening, Dicey.
Good evening,
Yes,
sir.
good evening, man.
Gentlemen, and Mr. Skerritt wants to take the opposition back to court appealing a case.
And we have a lady there with us as well.
Well,
Good evening to the lady.
Well, the ego of men, you know, the ego in man that have that happening. That's just a sad situation where the ego can make you do things like this.
Yes, well, and how he's saying he crying broke. He crying broke, but he want to spend our money, another 15 million, instead of paying the people of Marigot or any other. The nurses were begging for a little salary increase. Nothing. This man is mad, and we must stand up to him and show him. He's just like our Trump. He's just like that madman called Trump, turning everything upside down. Now we got to stand up to him. Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen.
Well, hey, I will tell you, if there is a problem with leadership, because I always say you cannot blame a trickster if he comes to trick you. You know, if we all of us stand up in a group and a man come with lies and he trick us, you cannot blame him for tricking you. You have to blame yourself for not being wise enough to understand that it's a trick that was there. That's why we have to wisen up ourselves, you know, and don't blame ourselves too. Because listen now, when you play in a video game, you have to beat the guy in level 1 to get into level 2. So I think our society, where Dominica is concerned, we have a lesson to learn, you know. Where money is concerned, the manipulate, how it does trick you. I always tell Matt and them and these guys, make a show about how money does buy people. Because I mean, it's a serious show. Have a talk one day on how money does buy people. Because, money is a kind of a thing. It does buy you. It might not be real, but you have to know the difference between the positive and the negative.
True.
In them.
Your government,
The outspoken King Dice.
the opposition leadership.
Folks, we are winding down in just a bit. It's quarter to the hour of 8 o'clock. So you'll be hearing some closing, a final, a parting comments, as it were, from our guest here. But let's take a verse or two from King Dice, and then we go back to our guest for the closing comments.
Create abject poverty. To oppose government policy is living dangerously. So now true is a sin, and lies and deception, and the virtues now trending. If I say the government in my land care for the local man, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say my green Dominica, I've been bequeathed to Red China, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say Parliament has become a comedy competition, I'm a wanted man. One day for speaking true, one day for caring about the youth, one day for wanting fairness in my land. So how much rather be a wanted man than to be a yes man to a godless, corrupt politician?
That's the man, King Dice. Those of you commenting on the social media feed as well, thank you very much. I must admit, it's not all the comments yours truly can read in the interest of time. There are a number of them there indeed.
Lofty.
But persons like Alvin Thomas, Brother Bernard Aline,
Lofty.
I'm Bruce LeBlanc, and you guys, good evening to you.
Lofty.
My dear friend Celia Gordon, good evening to you as well.
On the radio.
You may be tuning in late, but we played a song of Nashelle earlier.
Never before.
Lofty.
Never seen a little money make Chumby dance.
And so if you're tuning in at this time, we're talking to King Dice, Sister Nashelle Walsh, and brother / Senator Delbert Paris on what is happening to our youth in Dominica and what can be done in terms of a solution or solutions.
Lofty. Can you hear me?
So it's 10 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. Let's go back to Sister Walsh. Are you still there for us in terms of some of your comments, as we must bring it down to a close in just a bit?
Well, I just want to tell you, just stay strong, and in all decisions you make, never make your decisions based on your emotions in the moment, because it will be detrimental to your progress. Always try to think logical, take a deep breath, go on a side, go away from the chaos, and do what you have to do. Take that time to resonate with yourself and think of what you can do better to better your life. Never, if you're depressed and you can't talk to anyone, cry. Cry as much as you want. Just make sure when you cry, you don't cry for the same thing again. You find a way out. Have hope and use me as an example. I'm still growing.
Use Nashelle as an example. All right, Miss Walsh, thank you very much for your very inspiring, very motivational contribution tonight. I want to thank you very much. Whatever is left of your Friday night, make the very best use of it. Thank you again, Nashelle.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye indeed. Brother Dice, you came in at the 7 o'clock mark, very inspiring as well. Your final thoughts before you take flight, as it were.
Well, lovely. First of all, thank you for having me. It's always good to have conversations like that. I like these things because I a true type of individual. So before I go, I would just like to tell the listeners, I believe two set of people that can save Dominica right now if it needs saving, and I believe it does, because I mean, we need some balance. Imbalance is just not good. And I believe the foreigners, the diaspora, and the country people is very important in that move. The countryside where the dashing, not selling, and these things there, because I don't know. I mean, we used to see so much garden in the countryside before. Now the rumbas that full up, and everybody kind of are comfortable with it. And I don't know. We need to find a way to kind of bring them back to their their nation loving, soil loving type of things. Our brothers, the Asians, doing it for us, but I mean, we need to be part of it also. And I want to tell the youths and them to be themselves. Do you, because the youth, the people is the power. You cannot. I mean, 100 and something thousand people cannot let 30 people control them like that. For the few. That's why I love the movie in Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe, the show the power of the people. We need to show the power of the people, and together is beautiful. We need that. And I believe, don't let people buy you, first of all, because you have to have your own head on your shoulder. And I believe also that this is not the right time for that type of show at Friday night, at that time when everybody kind of having their fun all over the place.
What time and
You
what
see the
day
more I take
would you
example on
suggest that?
I take example on one of our past people, but he was that type of guy before. You see Crazy T? See, when Crazy T was just coming into the thing, morning time, when you wake up doing your thing, you need to hear conversations like this. That's important. That's why the man had to go and get his own organization, his own thing, chuck it in your head. Because I know it have programs and things against us. But you see, Friday night at that time when everybody is stronger in and thing, no youth's not hearing us, man. You check? We need to make, if you want them to hear us, you know when to hear us, and we have to fight for them positions.
So King Dice is saying the timing is counterproductive.
No. Friday night, nah. We have to. I know my partners and them hearing, the people and them are chilling hearing, those that not going nowhere they hearing. But if you want to conquer the youth and you talk to the youth, first of all, you have to go into college and them and make your stance. And at the same time, put that type of thing somewhere where you can be on a bus in the morning, going to school and listening to people talk positive stuff about the country, for if you want to be part of it. And I don't finish, and I was saying,
guys, what
electoral reform.
What I have to say on that point you just made there is that, as the good book says, let them who have ears.
Let them who have ears. Yes,
Let
it's
them
not for you. I saying it. I know them. They're there. I know
them
it have preventative measures and all that. But if you need to make positive movements, you have to put it where it's supposed to be. You understand?
That's from the king himself, King Dice.
No, we're not supposed to ask for electoral reform as a country from 70 fellas. We're supposed to take that. That have nothing to do with asking for, because this is fairness. It's a simple thing to stand firm about. Fairness. It have fellas that tell me about their grandmother that died how much time that on the list and them kind of things. Fairness. And anybody that don't believe in fairness should not go to church on Sunday. You understand? If you don't believe in fairness, do not go to church on Sunday. But if you go to church on Sunday, you believe in fairness and stand for fairness.
And that is just to back you up on that point. A lot of so-called Christians, those who go to church every time a church door is
they
open.
Do not be.
These are the enablers.
Many are called, few are chosen. Broad are the way of destruction, and narrow is the path to righteousness. Let me tell you that. The religious manner is a very, very broad manner. Put all the religious organizations in one road, and that is the broadest road you'll ever find. Go inside yourself and know Jah for what it is, and you'll find a narrow path where you have certain people that believe. And all you know that, and you know it's true. You cannot tell me fairness is not good.
True.
Yeah.
And as I said, guys, some of the church-going people who call themselves Christian, these are the people who are in the front row seat supporting that level of madness.
Yeah, because
whereby our elections, time without number, it is stolen.
Bob Marley have a song that says,
you're on point.
You're running and you're running and you're running away, but you can't run away from yourself.
True.
Meaning that God is within you.
Anyway, we have to bring it to a wrap. So
big up. And the end one, I just want to say, for those people that don't get a job on the airport, my brother, is your fault.
That
That is your airport.
That's why you should come at 6 o'clock. Because
yeah, I know. I know. But big up. Thanks for having me. Mr. Paris man, big up yourself, Zed man, Nashelle, and
One love,
yes,
one
my
love,
brother.
one love.
Solid, brother. Solid. Well, you see, Dice, Dice just started to get warmed up there, and he have to leave in the interest of time. So, Dicey, take it easy, my brother. One love. Take care. Brother Paris, your final comments before we leave.
Lofty, it seems as though this should have been the intermission. Now we're going to get a glass of water to come back for the next 2 hours.
Exactly.
Time seems to be flying when you're having fun. This is a worthwhile conversation, and I agree with King Dice. We have to have it in a time where more people can hear the Friday night. But regardless, you start where you are, you use what you have, and you do what you can. So I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the invite. Lots and lots of things to unpack. Lofty, before I close up, I want to publicly say that Nurse Darampo, I will be coming to look for you. Every time a senior woman gives me a counsel, I make sure to respond, Lofty. I grew up in a community where you don't disrespect your elders. Nurse asked me to come and look for her. Nurse, I will come and look for you.
If you need any directions to home, brother Paris,
thank you, Lofty. Thank you. I will come and look for you, Nurse. But Lofty, this is a good conversation. I wanted to touch on the airport situation in connection with the conversation that we were having earlier in terms of providing a conducive environment for growth. This is one of the opportunities that we have. I've spoken about that in Parliament on several occasions, where there's no reason why we should not have an apprenticeship program teaching young men and women skills that we have never seen before. We have new technology going on up there that we have never seen before, and there's no reason why our young people shouldn't be exposed to that so that they can get opportunities on the next airport. We can build capacity. We can get opportunities outside of Dominica and build skills. And that goes for many of the other projects, many of the other opportunities that go on in Dominica with Dominica's money. There's no reason why our government and our administrators shouldn't be going to bat for us. Young people in Dominica need access. And our country, if we're going to be here 50 years from now, we need to be empowering our young people now. We need to be partnering with them. We can chastise them as much as we want, up and down the spectrum. And young people, we have to be disciplined. We have to take accountability. We have to be more responsible. But we didn't bring ourselves here. So the people who brought us here have an obligation to us. They have an obligation to young people to ensure the survival and economic development of our country is going to rely on our young people now. And if they're not equipped, if they're not empowered, if they do not operate within a system of governance that protects them and provides a conducive environment for them to grow, our country will not survive. Young people, there is hope, and the hope is you. It is you. Regardless of the conditions, we can do better because we, as a country, as young people, as the future of our nation and the Caribbean, we deserve better, and we have what it takes. Thank you, gentlemen, for the opportunity, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, Senator, thank you very much, my brother, for a very invaluable contribution to the program. Always appreciative indeed. Jagai. All right, Zed, before I take you for a final comment, someone is trying here. Let's just give that person at least 30 seconds. All right, sorry about that. If you are on the line, please just call us back before we introduce Zed here. Let me just start to cue up our parting song, as it were, before we introduce Zed. Just giving that caller some time to call back. Yes, this one. Caller guest, good evening to you. Wow, I don't know what is happening here. Let's try this line. Caller, yes. Caller, good evening. Caller, are you there? I don't know what is happening here. Is that just before I call you, I just want to take at least 2 more calls before we wind down, huh? These persons have been there for a little while. My friend Margot LaRock, good evening to you. All right, this person is trying again. Caller, yes, good evening. Limited time.
Yeah, Christian is Christian. You ain't talk about Christian. Christian. You know what is Christian?
All right, caller, we are not on the Christian topic per se, so thank you very much. Next time we're having that conversation, call us back. Thank you.
Especially
That will bring us a road that we are not on tonight.
that their parents gave you the
All right, it's about 2 minutes to go. Zed, good evening to you, my brother, again, and thank you for putting all of this together. Your final thoughts.
Well, boy, Lofty boy, I am so happy that we could talk and listen with the young people tonight, bro. That's a blessing, you see, because everybody keep telling me, boy, Zed boy, them fellas and them fellas, we need to have young people, and and we made a promise. We said we're going to have young people, we're going to listen to young people, we're going to talk with them, and tonight was a blessing. It was a blessing. I really enjoyed it. Before I say the final thing, I want to say two things. You see, these productions, they cost a lot of money, man. Tonight, Kyrie and Q and everything, we almost at $1,500 just to make this conversation happen tonight. It's a lot of expense to make things happen and have good conversation. So we just want the listeners to pay attention to that. Civicvibes.com is a place you can go there, and you can, even if it's at $20, go there after you finish tonight and go and put it there for us so we can do a next thing. Civicvibes.com. Go there. It don't even not big. Just put something there and help the vibe so we can keep doing it. You understand? Because we want to do it, but sometimes it is expensive and it is straining and it is difficult. Lofty, I want to tell the young people tonight that seriously, there are better options than the current iteration of the Dominica Labour Party. And it's not because of the Dominica Labour Party. It is because of the management style of the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit. There is an absence of process and procedure in governance in Dominica. And you can never do things rightly when parliamentarians are in power. These guys make promises, right? And they have to avoid the people in their constituency, not because they don't want to help them, but because they have no control over it, because they don't get a budget. They have to go and beg Roosevelt Skerrit. He answers them when he wants. And the whole process of how the place is governed is anti-governmental. You understand? So the problem is the style of management is not protocoled on government structures and operations that benefit citizens. So we have a fundamental problem because of process. So you cannot change that because that is the individual. He runs everything like it's his thing. He controls everything. Government cannot run on one man. We don't have any choice anymore. If we continue on this direction of a single man governance, it's down the drain we go in. We have to deal with Roosevelt Skerrit on the 19th, but let him know we fed up of this, we tired of this, and we're not going to take that no more in Dominica. I call upon you, stop being afraid. The more of us that gather is the less afraid we have to be. And the policemen, you've been operating in Dominica on this kind of arrogant thing that you have a protector and you can just do people what you want and the protector will take care of you. I'm telling you, you do not have a protector for too much longer in Dominica. Be careful what you do to those citizens because we do you just like Mamo is hanging the criminals who disrespect the citizens. I'm warning you guys. Do not continue to operate in Dominica in this mindset that you can just come and beat us when we're on the street and you can just come and kick us and you come and do what you want and you think you're protected. I'm telling you, bro, check all yourself this time around because we're not dealing with that nonsense no more. We come in peace. We come to deal with that government because that government has been unjust to us and we're tired. We goddamn tired. And all you better sit down and check on yourself. When you go and react to us on the 19th. I'm telling all you. Okay? God bless.
Boy, I had a dream. Boy, once I had a dream. Politicians hold significant power to shape the future for you and me through the right decisions, policies, and leadership.
I'm holding on you.
Empower the young people or create barriers that will stifle our ambitions and potential to be the best we can be. So, Mr. PM, what's going on? We know we try and try, still taking down. You created an illusion, an imagination of a bright, prosperous, wealthy nation. Some call you a mama guy, I call you a heartbreaker and a dream killer.
She calls this one a dream killer.
You're a dream killer.
We had her tonight on the program, Miss Nashelle Walsh.
You're a dream killer.
Folks, we can't take any more calls. That is it.
Small money.
So all of you tuned in tonight to that very inspiring conversation, thank you very much for your eyes and ears each and every time. So our guests tonight, King Dice, Nashelle Walsh, and Senator Delbert Paris. Good evening to you guys, and thank you very, very much indeed. You made the conversation worth listening tonight.
Lofty, can you hear me?
To our Kyrie FM listeners who were there with us for the very first hour, thank you very much as well. Thank you very much to the management and staff of Kyrie FM for allowing that program to be simulcasted for the first hour. And to the usual choir, I call you guys out there, the Q family. Thank you very much indeed as well. Q95, the technician, the hard-working brother Sherwin Norris, and the staff there, management as well. Good evening to you as well. So, folks, that is it. That is how we bring down for yet another CCM program for today, the 14th. Well, tonight, the 14th night, that is, of March 2025. Remember, March the 19th, that is next Wednesday. We are seeing on Facebook, circulating as well some conflicting dates, 18th and 19th. But from the horse's mouth, it's Wednesday the 19th. We will all be gathering outside our parliament on High Street to tell our government in one voice that the second and third reading read these bogus bills must be shelved, and we have to return to the drawing board, as it were, in the interest of free, fair, and transparent general elections in Dominica. We the people, we have the power. Let's exercise it come the 19th and beyond. Dominicans, that is it. Those of you in the region as well of Fooderfield, thank you very much. Yours truly, I'm signing out. Bye-bye. I love you.
With hard work and determination, we can reach our destination through access to capital, education, mentorship. But consider yourself as a young man, stuck in the cycle of stagnation, where corruption creates limitation and overwhelming sense of frustration. Every day he says he has reality. He cannot provide for his family, losing his dignity and his sanity while still waiting for his opportunity. Don't call you a blood sucker, I call you a heartbreaker and a dream killer. We had plenty hope, but no, we can't hope. You're a dream killer. We got no mental health while you busy getting well. You're a dream killer. Stuck in NEP, working for small money. You're a dream killer. You present a lot of things, we believed in you. Now our life passing by, nothing coming through. Who can run will run, who cannot will stay. Waiting for election day to get elected. Oh, we have a dream. Oh, we have a dream.
The views expressed during this program are not necessarily those of Wise Q95 FM Radio. Wise Q95 FM Radio has not been able to independently verify the factual correctness or the allegations and statements made during the course of this program and cannot vouch for their accuracy. Therefore, Wise Q95 FM Radio will not accept any responsibility or liability for the statements or allegations made in the course of this program.
Most people can't afford oil and flour to make a little bit. In this little ghetto hamlet called Silver Lake, with a population less than 100 strong.